Today's video, we want to talk about prioritizing buyers or acquirers of business. We're going to look at 4 things relevant to the buyer specifically and 4 things relevant to the terms that they provide specifically. So when looking at a buyer, there's 4 things we like to look at in determining the veracity of them, right? How real they are, how capable they are, how interested they are. And so first of these is going to be access to funding. Now, sometimes you'll ask for a proof of funds. In many cases, a firm has committed capital, a company has balance sheet capital, but we want to know, is there access to funding? Second is transaction experience. And so that can be broadly, how many companies have you bought? What have other transactions looked like? And specifically, have you bought things in this industry? Have you had transactions similar to companies of this size, of this ownership complexion? We want to know what the track record looks like. Third, what is their industry knowledge or expertise? So even if there aren't a lot of transactions in the space, we still want to know, what do you know about this space? Why are you interested in this space? And so testing and gauging that often translates into the probability of the transaction and ultimately getting to a closing. Lastly, what is their motivation? And so someone can have all the capability of doing something, but if they're not motivated to do it, they won't. So what is the motivation? What is the timing? What is the sense of urgency? Why do they want to do this? And so we want to look at access to funding, transaction experience, industry experience or knowledge, and lastly, what is the motivation? What is the accelerating factor to get to a close, to get to an offer? Now, when looking at the terms that a particular buyer or acquirer puts forth, we again want to look at 4 primary factors in determining the probability and the veracity of that offer. So the first of these is simply the dollar amount. This is what everybody knows. What's the headline amount they're willing to pay for a company? The second is going to be the structure. How much of it's at closing? How much of it's over time? What are the contingencies, if any, to getting it over time other than just the time passing? Obviously, these are all highly negotiated elements, but we want to see as it comes forth what that looks like on a surface level as well. Next, what's the transition period for ownership? And so in most middle market and lower middle market businesses, it's not situations that you can just hand over the keys and disappear. We are going to have situations where ownership is selling and then working in some capacity post-transaction. We like to make those short, we like to make those tapering, but we want to know what that is from the get-go, right? We are not looking for our clients to sell a business for a job. And so what does that plan look like, and has it been well thought out by the prospective acquirer or buyer of the business? Lastly, what happens to the stakeholders? Again, we always talk about community, we talk about employees, we talk about team at large. What is going to happen to them? Is there a thought out process of retention? And to some extent, there's always this perception that they're going to be slashing and burning, but really in middle market and lower middle market businesses, and in light of the skilled labor shortage in many of these industries, these are some of the most valuable components of the deals. And so oftentimes we see companies wanting to retain all of them and making sure that they retain all of them post-transaction, but we want to know what that plan is on the upfront. So again, when looking at the terms of the deal, we want to look at price, we want to look at structure, we want to look at transition period, and we want to look at stakeholders. Lastly, a tip here from what we've seen in our experiences, we've said in other videos, we want to ask for references. And so we want to talk to other companies that they've bought, other people that they've dealt with. But one specific thing in kind of gauging the veracity of a buyer is we not only want to ask for a reference relative to someone you have consummated a deal with, but give us someone we can talk to for a deal that did not reach closing and why. And if that person speaks highly, right? If someone that is no longer associated where a deal did not turn out well, if that person speaks highly of an acquirer and say, hey, it just didn't work out for this reason or that reason, but otherwise they were very honorable people to deal with, that's usually a big plus, and that helps us out as well. So that's the thought for today. Gauging buyers and acquirers, prioritizing buyers and acquirers, and these are some of the lenses that we use every day in our business. Hope the week's going well. Keep pushing forward. God bless. We'll see everyone next time.